Welcome everybody. It's not my job to tell people how to live. It's not my job to come into your life and create all these restrictions for you and whatnot. I don't want to be like that because I know that what works for me may or may not work for you. Everyone's different and everyone responds to herbs and different health protocols differently than other people. So again, what works for me may or may not work for you. I do, however, want to come into your life and inspire you to be the greatest version of yourself. I do want to do my best to come into your life and use certain words that inspire you. I want you to become passionate about your health because health is your foundation in life, ladies and gentlemen. It is the platform in your life that everything else is truly built upon. You can't have all these dreams, goals, aspirations, and desires in life if you don't have health to, adequate levels of health, to go about tackling these aspirations, goals, and desires. You owe it to yourself, again, ladies and gentlemen, to be the best, healthiest, most mentally activated version of yourself. How far can you go with your health? Can you push the envelope? Let's try to achieve the impossible, ladies and gentlemen. Let's live past 120. Let's live past 150. Let's do things daily for our health that can uplift our health so that we have a greater sense of well-being and resilience in a toxic world. I believe in you, and I want you to believe in yourself as well. A lot of people just need kind of a nudge in the right direction, and that's really the true goal of my channel. I want to help you get sober. I want to help you become truly radiantly healthy in a toxic, half-dead world, ladies and gentlemen. We are living in a day and age where the acceleration of premature diseases and aging is at an all-time high. There is so much autism now. There is so much obesity. There is so much sickness, diabetes, cancers, chronic fatigue issues, malaise. It's just amazing how many problems there are. There are so many people out there that are suffering from so many things that, in my opinion, don't have to be, something that you're suffering from. A lot of these things, in my opinion, and again, these are my opinion. I have to say that they're just my opinions, otherwise I can get in trouble. In my opinion, a lot of the issues, the chronic problems that people are experiencing here in the Matrix are directly related to the diet, what you're putting into your system, what you're breathing. If you read Dr. John W. Apsley II's book, The Genesis Effect, Spearheading Regeneration with Wild Blue-Green Algae, he goes on to say, ladies and gentlemen, that the Surgeon General tells us that just about 70% of all disease, issues, pathologies, you name it, that humans are experiencing in this world are directly linked to the air people are breathing, the water people are drinking, and the food people are eating. So that makes up 70% of the pie chart. So if 70% of your health and keeping your health, keeping yourself healthy is dependent on food, air, and water, wouldn't it make sense in this crazy world to ensure that you're drinking quality water, to ensure that you're breathing clean air, and to ensure that you're eating healthy food? Because if you're not doing those, ladies and gentlemen, you are hindering that 70% of the pie chart. And a lot of people are not caring about what they breathe, what they eat, and what they drink. That's a huge problem. You have to remember that what you eat, breathe, and drink, these are your primary fuel intakes here in the world, in this world, ladies and gentlemen. And food is fuel. You have to start looking at that kind of logic. Whatever you bring into your system should be something that uplifts your tissues, that uplifts your mind, that uplifts your well-being, that uplifts your soul. Right now, a lot of people are depressed, sad, angry, sick, confused, while at the same time they're bringing so much garbage into their systems. And when you rebuild the temple of God, also known as the human biology, this organic machine, when you try to rebuild it with inadequate fuel sources, you rebuild your tissues, your cells, your entire physiological makeup on waste. It's no wonder that people feel sick. It's no wonder that people don't want to get out of their chairs. It's no wonder that people have so many circulation issues and different digestive disorders. You're bringing garbage into your system, but expecting to feel good. What about all the glyphosate and the Roundup and the herbicides and the food that you're eating? What about all of the atrazine in the water, hexafluorosilicic acid, pipe residue, scaling lime, inorganic compounds, chlorine, chloramines, parasites, radioactive constituents, algicides, cobalts? What about that shit? You're bringing this into your system. Just chlorine and chloramine alone, ladies and gentlemen, just those two constituents directly damage so many physiological processes within your body. Chlorine damages your gut flora. It affects your gut microbiome health. It's a huge issue, and that's just one constituent. In the future, people will realize that what they put into their mouths directly affects their health. Because right now, so many people in this matrix are going about their lives not knowing why they have issues, eating all the bullshit, eating all the garbage, but I don't know why I have issues. It's time to wake up, ladies and gentlemen. Your health is your responsibility. It's not the responsibilities of medical establishments to fix you when you've damaged yourself significantly through what you put into your system. Your alimentary tract is the tubing from your mouth to your anus, and this is where you introduce a lot of your issues in the forms of bad food, bad air, and bad water. This part of your physiology is where it all starts, ladies and gentlemen. It all begins in the mouth, and as above, so below. The quality of what you put in here dictates the quality of what happens in here, in your gut. And your gut and your brain are intimately connected. This has been proven time and time again. What you put into your system affects every part of your physiology. The quality of your nails, the quality of your hair, the quality of your eyes, the quality of your tissues, the quality of your heart, your lungs, you name it. You can't escape this. Food is a form of information transference, ladies and gentlemen. Again, eating is a form of information transference. Breathing and drinking as well is a form of information transference. Every time you consume something here in hell, you are bringing in components, information, nutritional constituents that can help you rebuild your body, your mind, you name it. But the problem herein lies is that the information that people are bringing into their systems through the food, water, and air are oftentimes suboptimal ingredients. It's suboptimal information. The body requires certain forms of information so that it can remain in a state of homeostasis, health, well-being, you name it. We live in a toxic environment, ladies and gentlemen. You have to be healthy by default if you want to keep up with the amount of environmental toxicity here in this world. So you owe it to yourself to take care of your health. You owe it to yourself to uplift your tissue, the health of your entire system. There's so much nanonized aluminum coming into our systems, barium, strontium, mylar fibers, chaff, you name it, through the aerosols being sprayed, through the stratospheric aerosol injection programs, through solar radiation management, geoengineering. That's just one issue. There's a huge heavy metal issue going on in this world right now, ladies and gentlemen. You need to be consuming things like chlorella pyridinosa, things that can actually help you bind some of these metals so that you don't become a reservoir for the matrix for all these metals, so that you don't become a mind-controlled NPC, a non-playing character, a bot for this world. Do you have the MK Ultra mind control programming operating in your unconscious levels of your psyche and your subconscious? Are you free-spirited? Are you truly awake, ladies and gentlemen? Do you have your health? It's time to wake up. It's 2019. Excuse me. Are you blocking blue light? Are you drinking clean water? Are you taking time every day to ensure that you're putting healthy things into your system? Or are you killing yourself slowly, but again, kind of a pleasurable way, because everything you eat tastes good? Most people are on a seafood diet here in the United States, and I don't mean seafood in the sense of, from the ocean. I mean, if it looks good, if it smells good, if it's in the refrigerator, I'm going to eat it. Most people are addicted to junk food. They're addicted to things that have hundreds of different compounds in them that ensure that you remain addicted to the product, because it's in the company's best interest, just like the cigarette companies, that you remain hooked on their product. So of course they're going to put massive amounts of artificial sugar in the products. Of course they're going to fill you full of refined carbohydrates that damage your system. Of course they're going to put massive amounts of different herbicides, fungicides, things like tert-butyl hydroquinone in the water or in the food, petroleum derivatives, ladies and gentlemen, artificial colorings. The body does not have a artificial coloring deficiency. It's not something that it needs. The body does not have a petroleum product deficiency. It's not something that it needs. The body does not have a glyphosate dependency, ladies and gentlemen. The body does not have a herbicide dependency. Most people are walking addicted contradictions. Do you want to be part of this mass of individuals that are so unconscious? It's just like in the movie The Matrix, when Neo finally gets unplugged and he's going, he's driving around with I believe he's driving around that old car in the first Matrix film with Morpheus and Trinity, and he's looking out the window and he's looking at everyone, And he's just kind of realizing that, wow, this is all a dream. People are in a state of suspended hypnosis. And it's the scene where he talks about how he used to go to that particular restaurant. I think it was a noodle house. But he's realizing that, wow, I was living a false version of reality. Now, you can either wake up or you can continue to go down the same road, and not to kind of rehash The Matrix, but in the movie The Matrix, there's also a profound scene where Neo is kind of fed up with the fact that he's been told that his world his old world is completely bogus. He was living in a simulation, and he gets out of the car to leave, to walk away from Neo, or to walk away from Morpheus and Trinity. Maybe Morpheus wasn't in the car. It might have been APOC or someone else, but Trinity kind of grabs him, and there's this scene where you see this dark, wet road, and it's raining, I think, and Trinity says, do you really want to go down that road? You know where that road winds up, and it's nowhere good. Now, you can keep going down the same road over and over and over because you haven't run into any issues yet, ladies and gentlemen, but when you go down a suboptimal route, when you go down the easy route, when you go through the motions, when you shovel shit into your system just because it's in front of you or just because, you know, you have access to it or it tastes good, input equals output, and you will eventually mirror what you're putting into life. What you put into life now dictates what you get out of it later in life, ladies and gentlemen. So I do indeed, to wrap this message up, hope that my messages can come into your life at the right time and inspire you to see the value in taking care of your health, to see the value in grounding yourself to the earth, and, you know, doing your best to, you know, get an air filter, ensure that the home that you live in is a health regeneration pod. Because I've said it once and I'll say it again, ladies and gentlemen. Your house, you spend 1/3 of your life in bed, and on top of that, you spend the majority of your life indoors, whether it be at work or at home. But most people spend the majority of their lives in their homes. You want to make sure, because of that, that the time that you spend in your home, you're getting benefit from it. So you're going to need an air filter, such as an Alexa Pure or some type of advanced air filter, so that you're not breathing in all the aluminum and all the metals and all the garbage that's stuck in your home. You want to make sure to get a water filter, a whole house water filter. I think I just, excuse me, looked like I just flung some spit at the camera. I'm getting a little too worked up. You want to make sure that you get a whole house water filter so that all of the water in your house gets at least filtered to some degree. You know, I prefer a whole house water filter, an RO unit under the sink, and a separate shower filter. 3 forms of filtration, and on top of that, a water distiller. Because I know that my body is a largely aquatic, largely aqueous, you know, this machine is largely aquatic. Over 70% of your body is liquid. Therefore, when you put garbage fluid into your system, you absorb that shit twice as rapidly and twice as efficiently, even though it's garbage, than food, because your body has a profound affinity to react immediately with liquid. Folks, I take a lot of time, a lot of patience, and a lot of effort with what I put into my system because I care about myself, because I care about my health, because I would like to see what happens here on Earth within the next 80 years. I want to be around. I want to be there for my loved ones. I want to be there for my pets. I want to be there for my wife. I want to be there for people who give a shit about living. Because right now we live in a world, a culture of death, ladies and gentlemen. It's all over the television. Being a moron is venerated in most of the television programming and all the billboards. You go down, do me a favor. Next time you go for a drive through hell, and that's what, you know, most of this reality is designed as. It's like a all-you-can-eat conveyor belt roller coaster ride through hell, where when you drive down the street, it's like you have hundreds of different options of things that are highly addictive that can help you ensure that you become an addicted mess and potentially, you know, destroy your health and, you know, lack creativity, lack mobility, lack connection to God through the Kundalini, you name it. You do me a favor. Next time you go out in the Matrix, drive around for 20 minutes on the main roads and whatnot, and count how many fast food restaurants there are. Count how many gas stations there are where you can get candy of all sorts. There's over 100 different options for candy and potato chips and garbage stuff with herbicide in it at the grocery store. You can, or at the, you know, at the gas station. You can also buy your potato chips that are filled with glyphosate and Roundup and all the other garbage bullshit. You can buy, you know, all the sodas filled full of sucralose and phosphoric acid, which is in chrome cleaner, ladies and gentlemen. Just take a look, really good look at reality next time you're out and observe it. Observe your living conditions, ladies and gentlemen. The Matrix is designed to be an Agenda 21 kill grid. It's a kill grid, ladies and gentlemen, and they are radiating you with all the cell phone towers. You've been put to sleep. You've had your Kundalini locked, and you walk around in this Matrix with a huge narcissistic ego complex, even though you don't know who you are, what your purpose is. It's a huge mess. People are walking around half conscious and not even knowing it, all at the same time thinking they're the shit. Bumping your rap music and your garbage, thinking that you have everything figured out. You got nothing figured out. Because I've said it once and I'll say it again before I leave. We are currently living as a shit-eater bottom feeder. We are at the very lowest bracket of human evolution. We are in a disharmonic state. The Hopi Indians will tell you this. Drumbelow Melchizedek will tell you this. There's been a lot of information out there showing that we are currently in a disharmonic state. When the human consciousness and when consciousness in general evolves from one state of purity to the next, it has to delve into a state of impurity so that it can bounce up to the next level. It's just how things work, ladies and gentlemen. Through these peaks and valleys, we learn things and we evolve through hardship. But right now, we are being sprayed to death through the stratospheric aerosol injections under the guise of, they're spraying for global warming. They're spraying millions of pounds of aluminum, barium, strontium, mylar fibers, radioactive constituents, scalar waves into the air. They're spraying all this shit, ladies and gentlemen, millions of pounds. Do you really not think that that has an effect on your health? Do you really just want to sit around and play video games and rot in front of the television your whole life? Or do you want to become aware of the truth so that you can try to push back? This is like a game of chess, ladies and gentlemen. The Illuminati, the secret societies, the various secret sects and orders that control things from behind the scenes, they publicly announce things that they're going to do before they do it. And by doing this, they avoid kind of like the negative karmic reaction of what they're doing. They're playing a game with you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what's more evil? The fact that all of these groups are doing heinous, evil things in front of us all? Or is it more evil that we are so complacent and so happily dazed and confused and fucked up in this system from all the fluoride and all the sedation? Is it more fucked up? Excuse my language. What's more evil? The fact that this stuff is happening or the fact that we've rolled over like a turtle on its shell and become complacent with all of the forced mind control and all the garbage that we consume? You see, you can blame everything on something else your whole life, ladies and gentlemen, but the true key to health is personal responsibility, and without it, you'll have nothing. Take into your own hands the gift of life and nourish your body, nourish your mind, nourish your soul. Become divinely selfish. Stop saying yes to addictive patterns just because it makes life easier, just because, mom and dad are eating that stuff, so I should eat it too. Ladies and gentlemen, becoming responsible means that you're going to have to become selfish in a sense. You're going to have to learn to say no to people. And saying no to people oftentimes makes them uncomfortable. But you can either be part of the group where everyone's rolling around in this filth, or you can begin to wake up a little bit and try to inspire people. So many people need, I'm not even going to get into it, ladies and gentlemen. I love you. I'm not trying to be a pessimist. I want to see you thrive. I want to see you get sober. I want to see you put healthy things into your system like cistus and canis rock rose. I want to see you experiment with things like chlorella pyrenosa. There are so many things that you can begin doing. Nature has a lot of the answers out here, ladies and gentlemen. You have the potential to thrive if you choose so. You do. Now, before I wrap it up, I want to say again that the Surgeon General will tell us that 70% of the pathologies, problems, diseases, disorders that we experience here as humans in this hell world are directly related to the food we eat, the water we breathe, or the food we eat, the water we drink, and the air we breathe. 70% of your health is in your own hands now because you can control those three facets of life: food, water, and air. On top of that, in 1976, the U.S. Public Health Department said that only 1.5% of all Americans were actually healthy. Listen again. Let this one sink in. I'm going to go in slow motion so that it registers. Megaphone. In 1976, the U.S. Public Health Department said that only 1.5% of all Americans were actually healthy. Again, In 1976, ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. Public Health Department said that only 1.5% of all Americans were actually healthy, and we're now in 2019, and let me tell you, things have gotten worse. There's more autism now, more obesity, more mental illness, more crimes through the roof, more chronic issues, fatigue, cancers, diabetes, you name it. You don't have to fall into this bracket. Wouldn't you rather be part of that small group of people who actually cared about things instead of just... It's like right now, people are on a conveyor belt and just accepting whatever's thrown at them. Like, oh, let's eat that, let's eat that. Like, there's no thinking. Get off the fucking conveyor belt. Realize that that conveyor belt is leading to a cliff that goes all the way down. And, you know, I'm not trying to be negative, but to go through life and just accept everything the way it is, in my opinion, is highly irresponsible, because a lot of the things that people are accepting are given to them by organizations that destroy things. They've destroyed the wheat. They've weaponized wheat, ladies and gentlemen. They've weaponized food. They've weaponized it. They've taken all the good quality nutritional constituents out of the food. And, you know, look into, again, Dr. John W. Ashley II's book, The Genesis Effect, Spearheading Regeneration with Wild Blue-Green Algae. He goes on to say that, excuse me, in the 50s, I believe it was the 50s, it might have been the 70s. I haven't read that book in a while, but it's either the 50s or I think it was the mid-70s, actually, ladies and gentlemen. No, that's incorrect. It was the 50s. I believe it was 1956. He goes on to say that they studied spinach, and spinach had a pretty remarkably large amount of iron in it back in the 50s. And then by the 90s, the amount of iron in spinach had diminished to by 95%. So in order for you to receive the amount of nutrition by eating produce today, in comparison to what you would have gotten in the 1950s, you would have to eat boatloads of this stuff. Boatloads. So our nutritional intake really has to be questioned, and we really need to start growing our own foods. You know, we have to take our power back. And depending on these organizations is just very irresponsible, because if shit hits the fan and you don't have access to your supermarket anymore, how long could you live? Ask yourself that. Peace be with you all.